Oh, we didn't even get a countdown. That was crazy. I'm live. I'm live. And I am alive. Hey, welcome to another live and unscripted Wednesday. For those of you who are new to our broadcast, you're with host Jennifer Saunders, also part of the Righteous Rebels creators, founders. I don't know. I'm gonna flounder over those words. So hey, you're with Jen, and it's really good to have you here today. So, Live and Unscripted is a program that I started when I decided that just doing regular podcasting, I just needed to step back from that for a minute. It was taking too long to put stuff together. And I like this format of just having conversations, of just being with you live, where we let inspiration be the guide. Now, typically, everything we do here is unscripted. And the guests that I have on, there are no questions. There's one, but they don't know what it is. And it's really magical to see what takes place when one simple question is asked and then allowing inspiration or intuition to just kind of lead the way from there on out. We'll do those kinds of interviews once or twice a month. And then in between, I will bring on my new co-host, Leah Montane, and we're going to have discussions like we're going to have today. So today's discussion came out of a conversation that we had a few weeks ago in regards to goals. And I'm just going to leave that one right there because we always start in a way that brings us to the right here and right now. So typically what that is a simple breathing exercise, most often a box breathing, where you're breathing in through your nose for a slow 4 or 5 count. You're holding that inhale for a 4 or 5 count. You're then going to exhale through your mouth for a 4 or 5 count. And then you're going to hold the exhale for a, how many? Yes, 4 or 5 count. And today, as you do this, I'm simply just going to invite you to just notice if you feel, not if, but what you feel in your body and where. I'm going to invite you to just notice, not necessarily give it any meaning or thought, but to just be aware of it. The purpose of this is because I don't know if you notice, like when I get on, I'm all excited and I have to calm myself down too, because I'm so excited to be with you. And I've had so much happen already in my day that it's a place for me to just pause and step aside from what's already happened and to let go of anything that I think is going to happen from here on out. And it brings me to a place where I can be right here, right now with you. And it's such a yummy space that we don't very often take the time or the privilege to step into. So I'm inviting you into this space right here, right now. So what this will look like is we'll do the first one together. I typically invite you to take a downward gaze or closed eyes, whichever is most comfortable for you. And then we'll start the breathing process. We'll do one together. And then I'll have you do probably 3 or 4 cycles on your own. And then we'll get going into the rest of this live and unscripted conversation. So again, downward gaze or closed eyes. Breathing in through your nose for a slow 4 or 5 count. Holding that inhale. Just noticing your body. Exhaling for a 4 or 5 count. And then hold that exhale for a 4 or 5 count. And then just repeat that on your own. Noticing what your body is wanting to tell you as you breathe. Go ahead and do one more cycle. If you're in the middle of one, finish it out and do one more. Just notice what takes place in your heart and in your mind as you finish up. And when you're ready, feel free to open your eyes and rejoin conversation. Mm. Mm. Isn't that yummy? Like, it takes 60 to 90 seconds. That's all. And do you feel the difference? 60 to 90 seconds. For me, I automatically feel just this peace come in and a calming as my heart slows down and my mind slows down. And I can be in this space where I can make decisions from the present and I can actually be present with you, which feels really good. So I'm going to invite you that if you find yourself in a moment of your day that somehow let's create a trigger like snap, just snap. And when you snap, think of breathing and just pause, even for 30 seconds, just pause and know that that feeling can come back and bring you to a peaceful space where really magic happens. So I have an amazing guest today who also now happens to be a business partner and probably my new bestie. Let's be real. I'm so excited that we're going to have this conversation today. I'm just going to bring her on. Leah, where are you? Right there. So a couple weeks ago, we were having a discussion about who knows what, because we talk about a lot of things. If you were a mouse in our pockets or a fly on the wall or something like that, you probably would like leave very dizzy and like wondering what just happened to you as as you listen to all the things that we talk about and what comes out of our minds and out of our hearts by way of the creation process, by way of assisting each other inside of the creation process, and sharing the knowledge and the information that each of us has learned and picked up along the way, as well as noticing what shiz we're carrying in our backpacks that we're bumping up to in this amazing process of creation. Whether it's painting a picture or it's out playing or it's creating courses or more live and unscripted, we bump into things. And what I love about the process is that the other day we were having a conversation. I'm sidetracking a little bit. I'm aware. And I just had this kind of just like pressing thought, like I could feel it weighing. And I just said, I'm feeling this thing, this need to control, like hanging in my backpack, and it's heavy. And it was really amazing because we have this space where we can talk about those things. And I actually do this thing where I turn around, or I make Leah turn around like this. And we remove the rock. Like we make an agreement with each other to remove the rock that is, I don't want to say it's the obstacle. It's the thing that's weighing us down in the moment, and to use that thing for a foundation or a road instead of something that weighs us down. And as we were talking about some of these things, and these are things we're going to teach you as well. You'll notice that when you get our journal or you come to one of our events, you'll receive a journal. The front of that journal actually has a backpack on it with some mountains hanging out of it. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'll have Leah put that in we probably already have. Leah, did you put that in a post the other day? Because we talked about it. Live when we were talking about stickers.
No, I think I didn't, but I can.
We'll put it up so that you can see it. We're super proud of this. Yes, the backpack full of mountains, which represent obstacles or heavy things. And our philosophy is that mountains are made to climb, not to carry. So as part of of that. I'm just going to call it a philosophy because it sounds fancy and neat. As part of that philosophy, we started having this conversation about goals and the things that we would need to do in order to accomplish, achieve whatever the outcome is we're looking for. And I said to Leah, I don't like goals. To which Leah's response was,
What? How do you do anything? I think it was with all the talk of New Year's and resolutions and that whole like, oh, that feeling around goals and new year, new me and all that stuff and just the energy around that. Excuse me.
So Leah, what happened from there? Like what tell remind me, but tell our friends what happened from there. I'm actually going to let you just take over.
Oh boy. Thanks, Jen. What did happen? So we started talking about just the difference between goals and why you don't like them and how they can get in the way of what we're trying to accomplish. That as much as the cultural narrative is like, do goals, you got to go, you got to hustle, you got to do all this stuff, and just how heavy that can feel when we're in pursuit of different ways of living.
What was your initial, besides the how do you get anything done? Because that is a real thing when people like, I don't do goals. And because we're taught it like from the time we're little, goals, keep it simple, set SMART goals, like all of the things. We're taught all these fancy acronyms and all of that. But once you got past the look on your face, I'll never forget the look on your face. And the how do you get anything done? What were your next thoughts? Like,
I feel like you might remember that better than I do right now. I'll just be real with you.
Okay, in all fairness, we all have days. We all have days, and one of us might be having one a day, just of tiredness of create. Actually, I'm tired too. Let's be real. However, I was so excited to do this with you today. It really was that question of how, like, help me even understand where you're coming from, like how without goals, what is there? And so I just I sat and I did my best to explain to Leah my thinking about goals, of how I really do my best to live my life in a heart-centered way, to be present, to do my best to be inspired. And let's be real, I wear skin and I'm just like you. And I have days where I do it really well. And I have days where I absolutely suck at it, which gives me an opportunity to practice other things. But as far as goals go, I think part of our discussion was, I prefer, well, one, I get tired of hearing about goals, and at the end of the year, everyone's focused on that and the New Year's resolutions. And like Leah said, new year, new me, that's all such, I get so tired of hearing that. Because it sets us up for failure. In my opinion, let's just put that caveat right there. Everything that is said here today is my opinion. It's my own science. It's my own lived experience. Leah's laughing because we just had a big old discussion on science. And feel free to take the pieces that work for you and use them, run with them. And feel free to take the pieces that are like in your brain and sit with them and find some clarity with them and whether or not they work for you. And if they do, run with them. And if they don't, I'm not going to ask you to actually set them down. I'm just going to ask you to store them to a place where you can maybe look at them a little bit later when you're a little farther down the road and you go, wait a minute, I'm in this place where I might want to do something differently. What do I have in store? And you can look through your files like, I say files because I remember, like, we used to have files. You're going to do it this way. Files. I still don't do it that way. And you'll be like, that's a tool. That's a tool I once learned. And I wonder if it will work for me. So instead of setting it down, I'm just going to ask you to store it away. I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to invite you. So for me, Leah, how about there? Anything you want to interject there?
If you're sharing what your thoughts are on intention, I can follow up with my thoughts on goals, because you're already on a roll, Jen. So just go with it.
So part of my discussion with Leo and let's be real, it's all a bit of semantics as far as words go. But for me, it's the place from which the thought and the energy comes from that we work from. So for me, I am just going to speak to intentions right now. So I remember learning about intention, thinking, oh my gosh, it's such a airy fairy kind of thing, and intention. But I did my best to stay open to it. And I had some people around me who were like, my intention. It kind of became a buzzword for a little while, and maybe still is a little bit. And I don't love working. Like, I kind of shy away from things that, Gayatri. I just got a message from Gayatri. It's a total side track. She's from India. I love her. So speaking to intention, I just thought I'm going to be open to this and experimenting with it in my world just to see how it feels. And what I realized is that when I do something with intention, no matter what I'm doing, whether I actually make the mark or not, I always feel successful. I always feel like I have moved forward, that I have leveled up, that I have advanced, that I am farther along the path than I was when I started. Whereas for me, when I set a goal, so an intention is an inside thing. It's something that comes from the heart. I'm going to go out on a hike today, and I want to really set the intention to feel joy, to feel playful, to feel exuberance, to find myself in awe, to learn something new while I'm out here. So the intention could be anything. And what happens is when I then go out, if say my destination is a mountain lake and something happens and we don't make it to the actual destination, I know I've had an amazing day, even though I didn't get there. Now, I'm human, I wear skin, and my mind wants to get in the way and be like, yeah, but you didn't get to the thing. Because for me, that's the goal. But the intention is, did I find myself in awe? Did I experience happiness? Did I experience joy? Did I get to be a part of all of these feelings and emotions that I wanted to bring into my world or my lived experience in that day? And the answer is, yeah. So guess what? It's a success. Now, for me, when I'm setting an intention for a big project or event or outcome, use the word that works for you. Part of what I do, so like when I'm running, this is probably the easiest way for me to do this. When I'm running, I say, I want to be someone who runs for an hour today or for 2 hours today. I have an idea of where like an ending point may be. It's not necessarily a goal, but it's a projected ending point. And then I say, what do I need to do to get to that place or to run for 2 hours? I got to have water. I got to have snacks. I got to make sure that I have my running vest and to check the weather and to make sure that I may have all of the things that are necessary for possible changing weather. I have got to have my mind in a good place because I run without music. So I've got to know that I can be with myself for 2 hours and my thoughts. I also, on those runs, I have got to find a way to get that off my screen. On those runs, I have guideposts. So they are markers that when I reach them, and I do this fun thing where I actually put people at the guideposts so that when I get there, I have people who are celebrating me, people who are welcoming me to that point and saying, "Oh my gosh, good job. You've been in this for 30 minutes and you just have 90 to go." And send me on my way. Um, and what happens is when I reach those guideposts, one, it's a moment of celebration. And I celebrate and I find a way to be happy and joyful in that moment. I also check in. How's my body feeling? Is there anything that is talking to me? Is there anything that really could use some of my attention? And if there is, I give it attention. I will actually talk to it, touch it, check in with it, and let it know that we're doing okay, and I'll check in down the road. It also gives me an opportunity to be like, do I want to go on? Do I have enough energy to sustain me and enough supplies to sustain me for the next section of the road, the next aid station or marker, if you will? And then I get to make a decision. Yes, I'm going to go on. I need to rest a little bit longer before I make that decision, or no, I've had enough for the day. And I can still feel successful even if I stop, because I've set out to do all the things that I had intended, minus maybe the 2 hours, but it wasn't about the 2 hours. It was about all the things in between, because I know that I eventually will be able to do the 2 hours and that today, maybe the circumstances, or whether inside myself or outside of myself, are throwing up obstacles and whatnot, and I can feel successful. Whereas in my world, I recently had this experience where I had decided I was going to run a 100-miler. And I was given a plan. So the goal was 100 miles, and I was given a plan: run this many miles on this day, go this many miles on this day, do a tempo run on this day, and I'll tell you what, I burned out. I burned my brain out. I burned my heart out. I burned my mind out. I burned my adrenals out. And it was a really crappy experience for me, because my mind was so set on obtaining the numbers and obtaining the miles that I forgot the joy of actually going and having the experience of just setting an intention of, I'm going to run 100 miles and here's the guideposts, instead of being so stuck to numbers and rigidity, all the things that are outside of me. Whereas when I did it before, I had none of that. I just ran, and I ran from my heart, and I completed 300 milers. And so that is my thoughts on goals versus intentions. Is, where's the place that you make your decisions from? Where's the place that you're living the majority of your life from? For me, goals are typically based on things outside of me, on someone else's markers of what it means for success. Granted, those things can become mine too, but if I'm actually doing inquiry with myself, a lot of the times those markers, whether I know it or not, are set by other people. They're set by society, they're set by school, they're set by work, they're set by the religion that you practice. And it doesn't feel good, because I'm doing the thing for everyone else. Yeah, I'm doing it for me because, yeah, I'm gonna win this book when I'm done, or I'm gonna get this drink when I'm done, or I'm gonna get a jacket. And I've done plenty of that. I have done plenty of that. And those things are nice for a minute, and then it's really unfulfilling, and I'm looking for the next thing to fill my cup and to level me up, when I'm trying to please all the people out there. But when I can step into intention and live from this space right here, and take a look at the things that I'm being offered through work or through school or relationships or activity experiences, whatever, and be like, that feels good for me. And can I do it for me? And then set an intention. It's so much more inspiring and it's so much more fulfilling and meaningful when I can do it that way. So for me, I hate goals because it's typically outside of myself. Hey, it's a pretty strong word. I know. That's still how I feel. Um, and so when I hear all these people that, like Leah said, new year, new me, that's such bullcrap. You don't need a new you. You don't need a new you. You're already amazing. And it's taking these pieces of you and being like, how do I want to take this and feel better in this? Or what would I like to feel? Or what would I like to be in this year? And what kind of things does that kind of person do? If I want to be an author, what do I need to do? If I want to be someone who paints pictures, what do I need to do? If I want to be someone who solves incredibly hard mathematical problems, what do I need to do? If I want to practice nuclear fission, what do I need to do in order to be that? And then you just set your markers and you start taking the steps. So I'm going to jump off my soapbox now and turn it over to Leah. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, you had so many great points there, Jen, and I'm not going to say that I disagree with many of them. I think the rub for me comes in the one, goals have a bad rap, and if they're set with someone else's ideas of what your goal should be, then yeah, they are crappy. And I think more for me, it's down to the culture of what goals have become. Instead of something to aspire to, they become a marker of worth. And that's the part of the goal culture that I just can't sit well with. When or that we're going to start on this date, in the future, I'm going to choose to be that person. But for now, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, even though it's not serving me. And I'm going to put that off until later. That's where goals have a rub with me. Whereas the way I look at goals and how I have them guide my life is, one, I have to make sure that they're my goals and what is it I really want. And that when you talk about, we don't even know when there's someone else's goals. That was very much my life because I wanted to live in a way that served the people around me, very much people pleaser. And I wanted them to like and respect me and look at me a certain way. So very much so that is very true when it comes to how we set our goals. So firstly, you have to make sure that they're yours. Like, what is it you actually want? Because so often, especially as women, as caregivers, in all these roles that we're doing, all the hats that we're wearing, we're often not asking ourselves that. And I know I bumped up against that quite a few times just in the last few months of what is it you want? No, not what your family wants. No, not what you think your mom wants out of you. It's what do you actually want? And when I set my goals with that in mind, it's a different feeling because I'm not doing it for year-end results. I'm not doing it for a specific time frame, although I can. For example, if I have it in my goals that I want to run a marathon or I want to do a marathon this year. So I break that down. What do I need to do to achieve that? One, I have to look up when the marathons are. Did I say marathon? It was a triathlon. That's what I want to do. I have to see when they're being held, when they're in my area. What kind of training do I need to do? Who can I train with? Like I have to set up those, you call them guideposts, I call them steps, but they're all little pieces to get me to that goal of running or being in the triathlon. And the thing about goals that, excuse me, the thing about goals that really sits well with me is that it gives me a point to strive towards. So if I don't say, I have this goal of being in a triathlon. What's going to actually push me to get there? Because when I have a goal in mind, I'm thinking of who I have to become and how I have to shift my life, how I have to think, how I have to change, what habits I have to get across here to reach that goal. For me, it's a striving point and a point of growth that pushes me to do things that are freaking uncomfortable, but again, you can have intentions of how I'm going to do this. And the point where we get negativity around goals is that we think if we don't reach it at this time, that it's a license to beat up on ourselves. Like, why when we come from a point of love and loving ourselves and celebrating what you did do, and how much we don't do that, those can be little pieces that support you to get to your goals. And it just comes to, if I don't reach that goal, that mindset, it's very much a mindset. If I don't reach that goal, then I am a loser, I'm a failure. If I didn't do it by this date, it's putting unrealistic expectations around that goal. The goal is not a problem, it's the meaning that we put around how we're going to achieve that, and what markers that we're judging ourselves on. Because I feel like if we just celebrate our wins, treat ourselves with love, to me, a goal is like, I'm going to shoot for the moon, but if I land in the stars, that's going to be amazing, because what am I going to learn on that journey? Because for me, whether I hit my goal or not, there's so much growth that has happened between where I started and how I got to that end point. So, and for me, there's just never, like, failure doesn't exist in my vernacular. Like, it just doesn't, because there's so much learning and growth that happens on the journey. The goal is it's just a shooting star. It's something I'm striving towards, but I'm still getting there in other ways. So I really feel like it's a mindset, and who do I want to become? Like, who do I need to step into, and what challenges am I going to have to overcome? Whether it's, I'm shy and I don't want to talk to people, so I'm going to join a Toastmasters meeting and really push myself. Like, I have a goal of making it to the contest by December. What do I have to do to get there? I have to be uncomfortable. I have to show up. I have to, learn the skills I need to be able to communicate effectively. So that's kind of where I sit on goals. And maybe this is maybe not wrong, but I just feel, yes, it's important that we set intentions for what we're doing and how we want to have those experiences. But I also feel like, is that an out if I don't feel like it? And I know I have it in the gas tank, but I had such a great time in the process. Like, am I giving myself an out? Whereas if I stick to that goal, will that give me that extra oomph, and imagining how I'm going to feel when I achieve that goal? So that's where I sit with the goals.
I love it. I love it. So a couple of things. So you and I just created a whole bunch of slides on nerd energy.
Yes.
And I love that you brought a couple of those up right now unknowingly. The have to versus you didn't say it, but get to. And that's something that we'll talk about later, is, again, that mindset of, and I think that actually fits very nicely with goals versus intentions, is the have to versus get to. There is a completely different energy when goal-setted people are in the mindset of, I have to meet this marker, I have to meet this step, that's the mindset that typically comes with goals. Not every time, and not with every person. Like, there's no blanket statement there. It's just science that is actually happening in people's brains when they set a goal. It's a have to. So thank you for bringing that up. That is a conversation that we will have deeper on another day. But this whole thought also, which I think is very common, of am I giving myself an out? Again, I think it's such an honest question. and definitely something to ponder. Um, I hear that a lot when we're coaching people, and they're like, "Yeah." When I say things like, "There's no such thing as right or wrong. It's just choice." Yeah, but if there's no right or wrong, then who's to say I'm not going to go out and just do all these horrible, dumb things? Well, the reality is, when you're coming from your heart, you're not going to do the horrible, dumb things. It's just not going to happen. And so, again, like going to the point of, I think that's a really valid question. It's a really valid point to bring up. And my answer to that is no, you're not giving yourself an out. You're giving yourself an opportunity to actually check in and see how you're doing. And are you pushing yourself beyond places that are good for you in that day or in that moment and tiring yourself out? Or are you pausing and saying, what do I need? What's necessary for me right now? Sleep, food, maybe just rest, fresh air, oxygen, connection, whatever it is, so that I can continue moving on. So I really appreciate you bringing that point up. And I think the belief system thing is, and how we've been taught it is one of those things of like, if I do something differently, I'm probably not going to be anything because I'll give myself an out and I'll stop, which honestly sometimes may be the truth. And who's to say that in those moments we don't need an out? Sometimes we just need an out. Or we need someone to give us permission to have an out or a timeout until we can gather the strength or the wisdom or the whatever to move forward. So I also heard that goals and intentions maybe can work together. Maybe?
Be a rebellious thought, wouldn't it, Jen?
Huh. Imagine that. I am a believer that goals and intentions can work together. And that it is important probably to have some working function of both. One, so the brain can do its job of all the calculating and finding of facts and doing all of those things, and keep it busy doing what it is best at. And then to let the heart do what it's best at and fuel us and drive us and help us understand that we're so much further along, even just taking those first few steps, than we were had we not even sat down and said, I want to do this thing, or I want to be this thing, or I want to feel like this. And for me, if you get nothing out of this, I think it's this. It's that so many times we set that marker, say it's the V, I can't even point, the V, and we work really hard. And it's in the goal mindedness, we work really hard. And if, say, we get up here and we end up at the E, we're like, gosh, dang it, I didn't make it to the V. Like Leah said, you start judging, you start tearing yourself down, forgetting to look back and see all of the journey that you've just taken, and how much stronger you are, and how much more wisdom you have, maybe how much more empathy that you'll have for other people who will travel those roads after you. And maybe understanding and regard for those who have traveled it before you. That as you move forward in this year, whether you use goals or intentions or a mixture of both, that you really, really get your mind set and wrapped around the fact that any step you take is a creation of success, because you're that much farther down whatever road you're taking. And to remember to look back from where you came, so that you remember you're not at that starting point anymore. You're now at this one. You've already closed the distance and the gap to where you want to be, or the thing you want to accomplish. And that whether or not you actually make the actual destination or goal, you're worthy, you're valuable, you're immeasurably wanted. There's another word and I can't think of it at the moment. So I'll just say this. Just keep taking the steps. Keep taking the steps. And if you require assistance, because it's always easier when you've got a community and a group around you, reach out. It's what we're here for. It's part of the environment and the culture that we're creating inside of Righteous Rebels. I can tell you this. I have fumbled around with this group for a long time, and with some of the goals and intentions that I have wanted for this group, or what I have wanted to create for this group. And I've muddled around, and I have felt all the feelings of I don't want to say failure, because it's not failure. What would be a word, Leah?
What's the point, or why am I
Yeah,
doing this? Or
yeah, yeah. Like, does anyone care? The all of those things. And I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit many times, but there was that little spark inside that said, "Don't quit. Don't quit. Just keep moving forward, doing something, doing something." And I would say, God, because I'm okay using that term. Use whatever term works for you, for whatever that energy is, even if it's self. And I'd say, who are my people? Who are my people? And how do I move forward in this when I don't really want to do it myself? And by continuing to take those steps, I was given an entire group of people. And then one that would be like, oh my gosh, this fits my heart too. And it fits how I feel. And ta-da, I have a business partner and a bestie and someone that I love dearly, and who now says, yeah, turn around. Let's talk about the thing, and I'll help you take it out of your backpack, and let's build some foundations. So if you're feeling like that, we're here. We understand. We've lived it. And the reality is we're continuing to live it. We're human. We're in this big experiment together, but we want to share with you what we've learned and what our experiences have been, so that if you can take any little yummy nugget from it and move forward, we just want you to know that we got you. We got you. That phrase for me has been pivotal in how I feel. And having someone, Leah, say it to me who could actually see me has made all the difference. And we want you to know that we see you. Whether you're using intentions and goals or some mixture of both, we're here to support you in all of it. So, Leah?
Jen? I just wanted to say I'm super excited, one, to be part of this community and to watch it unfold as we gain more. I don't want to say momentum, but more as we learn to play more in the group space. And it's so exciting to see more activity and people sharing their experiences, and it just, you start seeing familiar names, and it's exciting because then, I know that some of those things are resonating, and it's just a place to share. And if there's a topic you want us to cover, like, you can leave a comment, or you can DM one of us, or leave it in the group. Can we talk about this? Like, this is your group, and we want to make it as welcoming and a safe space to share and explore ideas that we never talk about. So I'm super excited for that. And my one thing I just want to leave you with is, when you're setting your intentions or your goals, where is it coming from? Jen and I were talking about this earlier. Like, is it coming from what the outside world says you should be doing, or is it coming from what you want to be doing and how you want to show up in the world? And it's that whole idea of, I should be doing this, but I'm doing that. what do you want to do? What are you going to choose to do? What do you get to do? So those are all word energy things that we're going to be chatting more about in the group. So yeah, I'm excited.
I love it. I love it. Well, this has been a fun and interesting conversation for me, at least. Hopefully, it was for you too. And that somewhere in all of the words, you found a little bit of magic or some yummy nuggets that you can snack on, because we like snacks here. But that you can take with you and feel energized by, and that you can move forward with. And if you have, we would love to know what they are. Like, what in this conversation has worked for you, or what will you, that you're like, ooh, that's intriguing, that's an interesting thought or an interesting concept. I think I'm going to take that one and experiment with it. And so we want to give you a challenge as well, like for the next week. What did we decide the challenge was? Oh, to like kind of mess around or play around with intention versus goal. Like, which of those works for you, or what kind of mixture works for you, and fill it out. Like, fill it out. Like, sit down with yourself and be like, okay, here's my thoughts on goals. Here's my thoughts on intentions, and write it out. Like, really discover what you feel about those things, because my guess is you've actually never really thought about it. Some of you have, but have you thought about it like in a heart-centered way, or have you thought about it in a brain-centered way? So I guess, what's the challenge in that? Actually sitting down and doing it. Write it out.
I would even challenge, maybe we'll make a post. What's your goal for this year, or what's your intention for this year? Who are you becoming this year? Something along that lines. We can decide that after this, but just share, and how can we support you in that? And who are we being this year?
I want to, like, this thought is coming to my mind, and I'm like, who, people aren't going to like this, but guess what? I'm going to say it anyway, because I want to hear your thoughts. I want to see that you've actually thought about this. And so after you've taken some time to sit with yourself, maybe do a little box breathing or just some slower breathing, settle your heart, settle your mind, ask yourself the questions. I am actually going to invite you to take a picture and pop it in the comments. And let's see, everyone who pops it in the comments, Leah, can we give away some stickers?
Yeah, we can give away some stickers. Oh, I should have grabbed them.
Yeah.
Dang.
Everyone who pops their name in the comments would be put in a drawing for the stickers. Should we do one or two? Should we give them both? Because it's a pretty bold thing to, like, take a picture of your stuff you've written and put it, like, yeah?
Yes.
A game for, they get each sticker?
Yes.
Yes.
You know what? I'll do so the post will be a picture of both stickers, and then in the caption it'll be share your goals or intentions for the year. How about that? Does that work?
Yes. I want to know their thoughts. I want to know their thoughts on goals and intentions.
Oh, thought. Okay, my bad.
Like the inquiry, the inquiry process of that. Because why do it's easy to, I'm air quoting. It's easy to write down your goals or intentions. It's not as easy to go inside and feel your way through what you feel about both of those things and how you might want to use them. And the rebellious thing is to feel, to actually live the experience of feeling, of being alive. So I'm gonna just say that's the challenge.
Okay, so
write it down.
Thoughts on goals and intentions. Be a rebel and feel.
Inquiry process. Asking yourself the questions. Okay. And then snap a picture, invite you to snap a picture, put it in the comments. And Leah will do her magic, which I am always in awe of. And she'll make all of these words look pretty, and she'll put them in a post. So this is easy for you to post.
There it is. Keep it simple. Those are the stickers.
Ask and you shall receive. I say that a little bit flippantly, but I actually, with all my heart, like appreciate that concept in new ways, um, because I ask and I receive, and it's pretty amazing. So we're just going to invite you to do the same. We're going to ask you to share with us, and you will receive. We're not even going to ask you to ask. Get to receive off of what we're asking. How cool is that? But in the future, we will ask that you ask something. And we ask that you be brave, that you be bold, and that you be a rebel and participate.
Yes. I would almost even say if you want an extra ticket in the draw, post
What a bonus.
a bonus. Yeah, a bonus that you post something that you'd like to see us cover or talk about, or just something that piques your interest.
Can we make that a double entry?
That okay.
Because that's me saying we want you to participate.
Okay.
Like we're inviting you to be a part of this, to step out of your comfort zone and participate. And are we in agreement to that?
Yeah, I think that. So one ballot for your thoughts on goals and intentions, and
Your
then
inquiry, yes.
two for a suggested topic to cover, and you will get your stickers. I will send them in the mail.
And it has to come in the comments.
Yes, in the
not
comments.
not in a direct message, because we're asking you to be bold and to be courageous and brave.
Yes.
And do the rebellious thing and put it in the comments, even if it feels scary.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the magic happens.
And if you are on YouTube watching this or LinkedIn, our group is on Facebook. So if you're not a part of that, come join us on Facebook in the Righteous Rebel community and have some fun.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you remember those things, because that just doesn't cross my mind. That is like Leah's magic right there. So thank you, Leah. So wherever you've joined us, whether it's live or you're watching it on a replay on the Facebook, on the YouTube, or on LinkedIn, thanks for being here today. We appreciate you. We don't exist without you. And we're just here to welcome you in with open arms.
And invite a friend.
Invite a friend. Yeah. You can even invite someone you don't even care for very much. Like, they're going to find value here too. And like, what a better thing than to give someone who you don't care for very much an amazing gift like that. You'll feel so much better. I say that with some seriousness.
Mm-hmm.
We love you. We see you. We got you. Oh, and if you haven't signed up for Tobamori, here's your shameless plug. We created our very first event for you, taking place February 13 through 16 in Tobamori, Ontario, Canada. You can register at, we'll put it in the comments, but it's at the jennifersaunders.com page. Click adventures. You'll find Tobamori. Click on that. You got to smash one of the like big green buttons that say "Let me in, sister" or something like that, and you'll be taken to a registration page. Right now, if you register before January or through January 18th, we're offering a gift count of $250, and we're happy to do that because we cannot wait to play with you. So if you have questions, just go refer to the site, and if you have questions beyond that, reach out. We're happy to help you.
Can I tell them?
Tell them. Yeah, tell them. Tell me.
Okay. So what I love about this event, it's a Love Yourself event, and it's part of Righteous Rebels. These events are part of Camp CPR. What is Camp CPR? So
yeah,
CPR,
tell me, Leah.
CPR brings us to life. So create playful rebellion. Yes. How do we come back to life? We don't have enough fun in our everyday lives. And we're, especially as ladies, like not to disregard the men, but us
We
ladies
love you, men. We'll have events for you too.
yes. But this one is the love yourself for the ladies. And it's just a way to connect to yourself, your creative side, and get outside and explore a little bit. And Tobermory is gorgeous. So I'm super excited for that event.
I love it. I love you. And I love you. Like, I know that it may be a little bit jarring sometimes to hear that because we don't hear it maybe often enough, or from maybe not from people outside of our like familial circles. And maybe we have friends who tell us that. But the reality is, I mean it. I love you. I'm grateful for who you are and the magic that you bring to the world at large, but to our Righteous Rebel community and to me. Life is so much better with you. So with that, we're just going to say this. Thanks for joining us again for To Goal or Not To Goal. Do the challenge. Get your name in for the stickers. Get the like triple bonus. You can have 3 entries. Write in the comments what you would like us to talk about. And then just remember, be bold, be brave, be a rebel. We love you, and we'll see you soon.